For thousands of years, the civilizations scattered across the Orion Arm lived under a single, unbreakable rule. It was not written in treaties, nor enforced by any central authority. It was older than governments, older than empires, older even than the first ships that learned to fold space. The rule was simple. Never disturb the sleepers. Who the sleepers were, no one actually knew. They were spoken of in myths, referenced in ancient date archives, and feared in the hushed conversations of starfarers. Entire systems were marked as no-entry zones, glowing red on star maps. Some cultures treated those zones as sacred. Others treated them as haunted. A few believed the warning was a relic of a time long gone. But all agreed on one thing. The galaxy was safer when the sleepers were left alone. Captain Lyra Voss had never believed in legends. She believed in navigation charts, in grav scans, in broken engines that needed repair. She captained one of the leanest, fastest courier ships ever built, the Eidolon, a vessel designed for speed runs between sparse outer colonies. But Lyra was also drowning in debt. So when an anonymous contractor offered her an impossible sum to retrieve a strange energy core from the forbidden Echion system, she didn't hesitate long. Every other pilot had refused. Lyra accepted. Her crew, Kai the engineer, Sarah the linguist, and Ro the navigator, argued, protested, even pleaded with her. The Echion system was the oldest and most strictly avoided no-entry zone. Lyra, the warnings aren't superstition, Sarah whispered. They're ancient. Pre-human. Pre-everything. That's exactly why the payout is so high, Lyra replied. We dodge pirates and collapsing wormholes every day. This is no different. But deep down, she felt the same cold dread tightening her spine. When the Eidolon arrived in the system, they expected ruins. They expected derelict stations. They expected death. They didn't expect absolute silence. There were no planets, only fragments of what might once have been a solar system. And at its center, floating in a cloud of shimmering particles, was a colossal, crystalline structure, shaped like a cocoon the size of a moon. And inside it, something was sleeping. Something older than biology. Older than stars. A presence that felt like the universe itself was holding its breath. Kai scanned the cocoon. This isn't natural. It's engineered. But by what? Sarah stared at the readings. No, by who? Ro turned pale. Lyra, the stories were real. They're right in front of us. But Lyra couldn't pull away. Something about the cocoon called to her, not in words, but in pulses, like distant heartbeats. And then the pulses changed. The cocoon responded. The crew debated turning back. All logic demanded they leave. But the contractor had given Lyra coordinates. And those coordinates led directly to a point on the cocoon's exterior, a small, hexagonal opening sealed with a metallic membrane. Kai's drone extended toward it. The membrane pulsed. Sarah held her breath. It's reacting. Like it knows we're here. Ro backed away. Turn the drone around. Now. But it was already too late. The membrane peeled back like petals. Bright golden vapor spilled out, swirling around the drone. Then, without warning, the entire structure trembled, not physically, but through space itself. The Eidolon's sensors crackled with distortions. Something ancient was waking up. A voice, not sound, but thought, flooded the ship. Who disturbs us? Sarah collapsed, clutching her head. Kai's screens went black. Rose screamed that the ship's trajectory was being forcibly altered. Lyra fought to stay conscious as the voice pressed against her mind. We dreamed the stars. We shaped the first light. We slept so creation could grow. Why have you awakened us? Lyra stammered inwardly, we didn't mean to, we didn't know. The presence pushed deeper. You knew the rule. All knew the rule. The cocoon cracked. A brilliant, blinding form emerged, shifting, expanding, folding in on itself. It was not a being, but a concept made visible. A living storm of memory, gravity, and consciousness. Kai whispered, they're not gods. They're architects of reality. Sarah tried to communicate, but the sleeper, an entity the galaxy had feared for millennia, focused only on Lyra. You opened our chamber. You broke the covenant of stillness. Lyra forced herself to speak aloud. What happens now? The sleeper's presence pulsed again. Now, we decide whether reality continues. The galaxy had always feared waking the sleepers. Now Lyra understood why. They weren't monsters. They weren't guardians. They were reset mechanisms, beings who slept so the universe could exist undisturbed. And now, disturbed, they were contemplating wiping the slate clean. The eidolon shook violently as space folded around the sleeper. Nebulas outside twisted into spirals. Stars flickered. Entire constellations bent like reflections on rippling water. We're causing this, Rose said. Our presence, our interference. Sarah gasped. Lyra, the ancient warnings, they weren't threats. They were begging us not to come here. Whoever left them knew waking these beings could unravel everything. Kai tried desperately to restart the engines, but nothing responded. Lyra stepped forward, feeling the weight of the universe pressing onto her mind. If we caused this, then let us fix it. She allowed the entity's consciousness to touch hers fully. Her memories flooded its perception, humanity building, learning, stumbling but rising again. She showed it worlds full of life, hope, conflict, purpose. Billions of beings struggling but striving. The sleeper hesitated. For the first time, the cosmic storm of its form dimmed. So much life has grown. So much chaos. Yet so much meaning. Lyra's voice trembled. Don't erase everything. Let us keep what we've built. The sleeper slowly retreated, its form collapsing back into the cocoon. The cracks resealed. The distortions in space calmed. Just before silence returned, the voice whispered one final time. Sleepers do not destroy meaning. We preserve it. Go, and carry our warning. The cocoon dimmed, becoming silent once more. The eidolon systems rebooted. The engines hummed back to life. The crew stared in shocked silence as Lyra set a course out of the forbidden system. When the ship finally reached safe space, every member knew the truth. The tale of the sleepers wasn't a myth. The warnings weren't superstition. They were mercy. And now the galaxy had a new rule. Carved in reality, not legend. Never disturb the sleepers. Not ever again. But Lyra also understood something else. They hadn't been punished for waking the sleeper. They had been forgiven. And that forgiveness was far more terrifying.